All right, guys, we are winding down here. Day 8, Great American Outdoor Show 2019, brought to you by the NRA.
I cannot believe it's day 8 already. We
Already?
just started it. Come on, man. I have not been here as much as others, but I've been here a lot, and it just flew by, though.
I agree.
I'm tired, but it flew by.
Guys, I'm not near as wore out as I thought I would be at this point in the game, and I'm ready to finish strong.
Me too.
These next 2 days. I really am.
We got another good day today. We're going to kick the day off talking with the NRA. We got some pretty slick videos that are working. But man, we've got so much content that we haven't even been able to release.
We have some stuff that we're holding close to the vest that we might show later.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. It's been a great week. Again, thank you, NRA. Thanks everyone for following along with us.
I really appreciate everybody we've talked to because they've been open and willing to give up their time because this is a consumer show.
Yes, it is.
They are here to make money.
They're here to sell.
And they have good deals. They are working with their customers, and we are kind of taking up their time if they can't talk to customers. And I appreciate them taking their time.
Yep, absolutely.
I've been fortunate to have focused on the outfitters more this year, and I've enjoyed that this year instead of the products. Personally, that's where I've been. And
I loved the episode with the folks from Argentina.
Oh, my gosh.
Dude, that made me want to just hop on a plane and get down. But did he?
I'm taking you by that booth, Stevie.
Yeah.
We'll be booking a trip, bud.
Did I hear him say somebody shot 7,500 ducks in one day?
I think it would have been doves.
Doves.
But
doves.
5,700 and 5,575 in one day.
Is that what it was?
Something like that. Yeah. Incredible.
Like, how many times do you have to pull the trigger for that?
Well, I don't know. It depends on who the shooter is, Stevie.
Yeah.
Like,
if he was I would imagine he's like a world-class wing shooter from England where it's very serious. So he was probably pretty good.
My goodness. I would love to even make the attempt to shoot. But anyways, that was CNC Outfitters.
I'm like 3-box miser over here.
Oh, man, 3-box miser for 2 ducks.
So again, this is day 8.
Day 8.
It's flown by. Mm-hmm. If you're listening to this, it's probably Sunday, and you only have today, which is come back for free day.
Welcome.
If you have a ticket, if you came during the week, you can come back on Sunday for free. We thank the NRA for that great deal. And let's get out on the showroom floor, guys, and have some fun.
Let's go hit it hard, guys.
Day 8. It's been a long week. Great American Outdoor Show. We are privileged to have with us now the NRA's School Shield Program Director, Sheila Brantley. Sheila, how are you?
Welcome. I'm doing great, guys. Thank you so much for meeting with me and visiting with me today.
Oh, it's our pleasure. It's our pleasure. This is really, the more I learn about this program that the NRA puts together, the more I appreciate it, the more impressed that I am with it, with the School Shield program. Can you give us a little overview of what that all encompasses?
Yeah, absolutely. The program, as an organization, we're very, very proud to be able to offer something like this because there's not a lot of folks, when you hear a lot of times about tragedies that are in different communities across the country, and especially with our children in our schools, a lot of folks call to action. We must do something. We have to do something. We can't let this happen again. But what the NRA did is said we are going to do something about this. We are going to offer resources. So School Shield came about after the tragedy at Sandy Hook when everyone said this can't happen again. These children should be able to learn in a safe environment. And what we did is we had a task force of security experts, a lot of them with Homeland Security, a lot of federal and even local law enforcement, as well as teaching staff and school administrators, and trying to determine what were the vulnerabilities in our schools, what were best practices as well.
Yeah.
A report was published in, I think it was 2013 actually, in the springtime, and it's available still online, 225 pages of findings and recommendations, and from that we took it and we built this program. So we educate folks on what it means to have a secure environment, what it means to have a secure campus. We offer a training free of charge. It's free to attend, free to host, and it's all about doing these vulnerability assessments. So what are we doing right to make our schools safe and secure, and what are areas that we can improve? Yeah,
so what does a vulnerability assessment, boy, that's a
what does that consist of?
Yeah, I know.
Exactly.
It's a great question, and I think it's one of the challenges that we have out there these days is because a lot of people hear that, and exactly like you just said, what is it?
Yeah.
What am I going to be looking for? So it's looking at the way that we teach folks is you go from the outermost perimeter of that campus, base, and you work your way in, and what you're doing is you're looking for what should be multiple redundant layers of protection. So what if a threat were to materialize, what is the earliest spot that we could detect that threat and delay it to allow for an appropriate response? So you may have access control measures. You may see things like a perimeter fence. You may have locked doors at your building entrances. You may have areas where they have to buzz in by the front entrance staff, and all of these are layers of protection that'll be in place.
Video monitoring. I'm
absolutely.
assuming, especially with technology getting the way where it is today.
Yes.
I mean, small, remote, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth.
Right.
You name it.
Well, and even think about our homes, right? So a lot of personal homes now have security systems in place. And that's one of the things that when they first announced this program, we have all of these layers of protection in every other part of our lives. Yeah. We have security here at the Great American Outdoor Show. Yeah.
Yes.
But our schools are wide open, and that's just unacceptable.
Yeah, absolutely. So the training that the NRA offers, how does that work? Does a trainer come to the school? Does a trainer come to a parent's homes?
Or does the school come down to a facility?
No, it's a really great question. So what we do is we have folks that reach out to us and they say, I want a training. We say, okay, great. What we want is we want a school, a local school, and a local law enforcement agency. So it could be your local high school, and it could be your local police department or your sheriff's office. So they will approach us, that we'll set some dates, and we'll actually go to that community. We'll send 2 instructors, more if we have more people, but usually there's 20 folks in the class. They're predominantly law enforcement themselves because they're the ones that already have access to the schools. We're just trying to give them more tools in their toolbox to be able to help those schools out. But we're there for 5 days, and we literally go through with them talking about defining potential threats in the school environment. So we're not just talking about armed aggressors. We're talking about bullying. We're talking about the things that happen on a day-to-day basis. And then we get into the physical security components and how to strengthen that security posture.
Wow. So you work with local law enforcement or state law enforcement, either one of those?
Yeah, so anyone. So we tell you, if you have a direct responsibility for the safety and security of that school, you're eligible to attend our training.
So like school resource officers.
Absolutely. We get a lot of those in the classes.
And then a lot of school districts now kind of have what I want to say, their own security/policing force.
Yeah, so what we tell folks is a lot of folks think, it's the NRA, so it must be we want everybody armed. Yeah. And we tell folks, here's the crux of the matter. No option should be off the table when it comes to protecting our kids. And that decision is best left with the local resources and the local community members.
Absolutely.
If we can help, let us know. We are here, and we really are ready to help you all.
As a parent, I have 3 kids in school, and my kids go to a private school, and there was an issue a few months back, and it turned out to be just a huge misunderstanding that the school was very responsive towards. But as a parent, that kind of made me and my wife start to question, what's going on? Like, what type of security measures does the school have? And is there anything that this program offers that could help a parent kind of approach that topic with the
absolutely.
local school?
And I think it's really important to talk about because a lot of folks don't think about their child's school security until something does happen.
Exactly.
And it hits home, and that is human nature, right? And so when that happened, you're probably saying, well, gosh, if this was the real deal, how soon did we learn about it? Yeah. How were we informed? Was it a phone call? Was it an email? Was it a text message? Was it all of the above? Did you get a text message from your child before you even had an official communication from the school? And so these are really great questions. We actually came up with a handout for parents and folks who just want to go and be an advocate for more secure schools on our website, nraschoolshield.org.
Okay.
And right there on that main page, there's a printout, and it has 10 questions that you can go and ask. So if you want to go to a PTA meeting or just make an appointment with the school administration and say, hey, I just have a few questions because I want to know better about what it is that we're doing.
What if those questions are perceived as not as like just for an educational question, self-benefiting question for the question asker, because there's that fine edge of the knife where you have lawyers on one side and talking liabilities, and then you have real common sense options, and sometimes we cut our nose off to spite our face for that, and then people get worked up like I'm challenged. No, I'm not challenging you. I want to have a discussion and an open debate. Can you guys facilitate that as well?
Well, I think it's a really good point, and it is so important to bring that up because it is talking about security, right? And so the administration, the school, they are going to be very protective of certain things, and I think as parents and just concerned citizens, you have to respect that this is a very serious matter. And so when it comes to security, if I were in one of those rooms having these conversations and I'm asking these questions, I can tell if the administration has thought about these questions, if they do have a plan in place, and really that's what you want to know. You also want to know what your role is in all of that. But in terms of, well, let me see the camera feeds, let me see all that type of stuff, that's a little invasive. And so you just have to be respectful in that, in that sense.
Because they're also protecting the privacy when it comes to those camera things of other kids. But you can, there's a way to navigate and be a responsible citizen and to ask that and to expect that out of your, especially public institutions.
I was fortunate, after this minor incident at my kids' school, I went and spoke with the administration, and they did have a very comprehensive security program in place, and we were actually very impressed. But there's something more, I think, that the NRA offers. It would just be great for every school in the nation to take advantage of this.
And then it's standard nationwide. I think then that works in conjunction with law enforcement because we have since, let's face it, since 9/11, we've made a lot of standardizations across the board. So our law enforcement and our first responders can be all on the same page. And using a national organization such as the NRA, I think is utmost of important because then everybody is hearing the same things.
And that is, from our members and our supporters, we have millions of folks out there that are saying we want to do something. And I think your point to standardizing this, or at least setting some fundamental measures of protection that we all can agree upon, I think that's so critical. And working with law enforcement, one of the reasons that we chose to work with them is they are the protectors of our community. And they've been long the ones that we call when there's something happening and we need help. When the task force went out, they said, you know what? The schools aren't actually working with local law enforcement as much as we'd like them to be. And that was a big challenge for us. So we said, we work with this training, we can start to facilitate that in part.
And I need to go back and also point out, even though you're a national organization, you said it earlier, you do determine the security needs based upon the local community, and you talk to the experts of the community are the citizens of that community. So no way am I saying that everybody's going to be. No, it's taking the standard approach and using it in each community and growing it at the grassroots. Again, what the NRA does, grassroots up.
You're absolutely right.
So how can parents, teachers, school instructors, how can they learn more about this program? So we welcome anybody to come check out our website. It's www.nraschoolshield.org. And we have a ton of information on there. We talk about the task force report and where our beginnings were. And then we have a page dedicated to our training. There's a ton of testimonials on there, video testimonials for folks that have gone through the training, who have hosted the training from very different perspectives. So we've got law enforcement, we've got fire, we've got schools, which is great because they all can share a little bit about how it helped them improve their own respective professions. We've got a grant program. In 2018, we actually awarded a little over $600,000 to many, many different schools, over 50 schools in over 20 states, which was amazing. So when you talk about folks saying, let's do something to protect our schools, well, who else is doing something? We actually are.
Every program director that we've talked with this week, Stevie, with the NRA, has told us that how much funds go back out to the community. Every program is investing back into the communities where again, grassroots, where it comes from, it goes back to. Communities couldn't do it without the NRA. We've learned that here in this community when this show almost got bullied out of here. And NRA came in and helped us out. And just like you are with helping out schools and school administration and local law enforcement, helping bridge that gap. Sheila, thank you so much.
Thank you.
This is an issue that is at the top of everyone's list. And thank the NRA for actually doing something.
Well, thank you all, and thank your listeners who are supporters, because like you said, the NRA couldn't do it without the communities, to be honest. So it really is a team effort.
Thank you. We couldn't do it without you guys, too.
We appreciate you.
NRASchoolShield.org. Check it out. Thanks, Sheila.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. Day 8. Of course, Stevie and I have to find ourselves
back in the fishing hall.
Right back in the fishing hall.
Where we met so many years ago.
We have 4 years ago. Who are we here with, Stevie?
Well,
tell us who
we're here with. None other than Scott Lennox.
What's up?
Fishing
Hey, Scott.
What's up?
Yeah.
Good to see you guys again, man.
Yeah, it's been a long time since we've met. How about it?
Yeah, you came to this exact booth space 4 years ago now. You guys were just getting started. I was just getting started. It was only our second year doing it. And you come to fish in Ocean City, and we kind of started talking and hit things off. And great relationship we got going with you guys. We appreciate what you do for us.
Now we do karate in the garage.
Absolutely.
There you go.
And Scott, in your booth today, you also have Captain Chris Watkowski.
Captain Chris Watkowski is one of our
Yeah.
boats. He's runs the Spring Mix 2. His owner, Paul Leveling, is very generous to us. They do some giveaways through the trade show season. They take us fishing and do our TV show Hooked on OC down there during the summer. It was nice enough to take our kids fishing 2 years ago.
Really?
Caught our first yellowfin. So, yeah, they do a great job
Great
for
kids
us.
episode we did that day.
Yeah.
So I guess to continue the theme, Captain Chris is family.
Pretty much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, we have an extended family for sure, just like you guys do. And so any of the boats that participate with us, we're really close with them. We're friends with all of them. That comes first. So if there's any kind of business issues or problems, all that gets pushed to the wayside, and we still appreciate everything they do. But these guys are kind of top of the list because of the stuff that they donate. They're doing a clothing giveaway here at the show for us.
Nice.
Wow.
They'll take us fishing again and do the Hooked on OC show this summer. So it's a really great relationship.
Been a good day. Been a good relationship.
Yeah.
So, Captain, you offshore fishing primarily?
Yeah, primarily offshore, yellowfin, bluefin tuna, white marlin, blue marlin, dolphin fishing. Last year, dolphin fishing was crazy good last year.
Yeah,
What
August,
was it
September.
about last year?
Just different cycles. We had a little bit more warmer blue water come in. 2017, we didn't get any eddies that came in and changed the water up.
Yeah.
Last year, we had a lot of water changeover, and the fishing was phenomenal at the end of the year.
Oh, man.
You're allowed 10 dolphin per person, and these guys were limiting out by 10, 11 o'clock in the
Every
morning.
day.
way.
It was crazy.
60, 70 fish, yeah.
It felt bad after about the third week of doing it.
Yeah.
It's like,
How many did we kill?
Are we doing anything to this species, guys?
We call that catching, not fishing.
Oh,
Yeah,
it
that's
was definitely
definitely
easy.
catching.
Yeah. Fishing in a barrel was pretty good this year.
How do you fish for those? Is that trolling?
We'll troll a little bit, but 9 times out of 10, we'll pull up on like a lobster ball or weed line.
Yeah.
Back up into it. There's some squids. Throw some bonita in there and see if there's any dolphin around and catch 90% of them on spinning rods.
Yeah.
You know?
No kidding.
Then we'll troll around and catch, in the blue, catch them out. And if you keep one in the water, the rest of the school will come up, pull the spinning rods back out, catch them right behind the back of the
They're
boat.
very
That sounds like
stupid.
fun.
They're
It
very
is.
stupid
Are they
fish.
really?
Yeah, they're
But
very
they get
stupid.
smart very quick.
Yes.
You lose 4 or 5 of them,
Yeah.
pull them off, break the hook. I mean, I don't
Then
know
they
what they
scatter.
do.
Yeah.
The school figures it out pretty fast. We
Well, you
pulled
can-
up on one lobster ball last year, got up in the tower. The mate's like, "Is there any fish in there?" I'm like, "They are everywhere."
Yeah.
We caught 48 of them off of one pot in like an hour and a half. I mean, it was crazy fishing last year.
That's called bailing dolphins.
Yeah,
But you take it when you can get it.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, exactly.
And then there's years where
Because 2017, the year before, it wasn't my worst year fishing, but it was definitely the
It was
hardest
tough.
fishing down there. It was very hard fishing.
Tunas were scattered throughout the ocean for the summertime, so tuna fishing wasn't great, and then the mahi didn't show up like they were usually do in September. And then the weather in September was pretty awful too
Yeah.
in 2017, so our white marlin bite was off as well. So it was kind of a tough season.
Yeah.
Last year was good.
and I guess the rain all the rain we got didn't. You guys didn't get half of it, did you?
No, but we still got a ton. Our inshore fishing was off for
Okay.
a month or so because
was.
when
I
you're
remember
fishing in
reading the
Ocean
reports, yeah.
you read the report, yeah. When you're fishing in the back bays of Ocean City, the runoff from the rivers and streams and everything can really affect the clarity of the water back there. And flounder fishing is the top of the list for people to do. And when that water gets dirty, it gets tough to catch them. It doesn't affect offshore fishing just because the ocean currents and everything, that cleans up right away. But inshore, close to the beach, and especially in the back bays, it can get really tough when there's a lot of rain. And last year there was a lot of rain.
Being a Midwest boy, I'm still learning this saltwater stuff,
Yeah.
guys.
Gotcha.
And Stevie promised to teach me a little bit more this year about it. So I'm
You've done a little bit. It's fun, right? Totally different.
Just a little. I want more.
Yeah, yeah.
Than a
You get a little
glue
tick.
off of a party bar.
Understood. Understood.
And I've always wanted, as growing up, when we were in Hawaii, Dad, let's go fishing. My dad wasn't hunter or a fisherman.
Okay,
And
gotcha.
I've always I had so many opportunities.
Well, you're in the right spot to make
now
that
I
happen.
am.
Oh, jeez.
Tell
Yeah,
you
look
what.
around you.
Jeez.
It is
Do a
great.
360. You can go to Alaska across the way here. You can go to North Carolina, a couple booths down. You can go to Alaska right next to us. Canada down the aisle. It's crazy the amount of opportunity you have here.
I've caught a lot of big fish in the last 12 months, that's for sure.
Nice.
Yeah, good deal.
This kind of stuff gets us riled up for the season.
Yeah.
Really,
And it's
It
just
does.
around the corner now.
Yeah,
That's
it's
what
getting
this
close.
show represents.
Hunting season's over with.
Yep.
Boat work starts and then goes right into the fishing season.
Up until today, it's been really warm this week, so it gets you kind of fired up.
Captain, when do you start going out? When do you say, it's worth getting people out? And
The boat will be in early in May this year, so if the tuna show up around Memorial Day like they did 2 years ago, we'll be ready to go. We'll book trips as early as June and go tuna fishing, blue fishing. We'll do some sharks. Once the fish show up, we're ready to roll. We're in about a month early for everything.
Is that a water? You're waiting on water temperature? Or are you waiting on bait?
Water temperature, however, their migration pattern is for the year. Yeah, you're looking for like 68-degree water for the yellowfins and the bluefins to show up. You get a warm core eddy come in offshore. As long as it comes in close enough that we can reach it, run 50, 60 miles.
I was just going to ask how many
50,
miles do
60
you run?
miles.
out?
Yep,
Wow.
yep. That's a normal run for us, 55 to 65 miles, a normal run to the canyons for us.
On average, and I know depending on conditions, but on average, how long does it take you to, from a landlubber, how long does it take you to motor out there?
If I get my crew there at 5 o'clock and we're out of the inlet at 5:30 on a normal fishing day, we're fishing by 7:30, 7:45.
Wow, lickety split.
Yeah,
nice.
12-hour trip, you're fishing 8+ hours.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Tell us
Two
about
and a
your
half
boat.
hours. It's a 43 Alex Willis built down in Harkers Island, North Carolina.
Ooh.
Express style boats. Everybody's on one level.
Yeah.
Does have a tower on it, so nice days I'm in the tower spotting for blue marlins. The tuna's on top. If it's even nice enough, you guys are, I'd like to charter up in the tower with us a little bit, all the creature comforts, air conditioned, TV, full head, everything. Yeah.
That's high
nice
living.
Day,
We would know what to do with
Oh
that,
my
Steve.
goodness.
Nice day on the helm deck. You open up the curtains, everybody's in there, and we got big enough benches. It's great,
Yeah.
I've been on the boat for now. This is the second owner. I've been with both owners on the boat.
Wow.
Been
We've done
very
the TV
good.
show on there a couple of times. It's a very comfortable boat. Even the kids on there. We had 6 kids and 3 adults probably.
Oh, yeah.
Not counting the crew. And it was very comfortable. It's a really wide boat. It's got a real wide beam on it, so it's comfortable that way. It's a great sea boat, so even if you get a little bit of chop, it handles that really well.
Does it?
Yeah.
So not too much worry about. So someone like me, I get seasick fairly easily. If I pop a couple Dramamine, I should be okay.
You should be okay. We'll just have to kick you to wake you up from the Dramamine
that's
to
right.
get you to go fishing. You're
Take
fishing, but
Bonine,
you'll
Steve.
be
Bonine's the way to go. And take it the night before. Take it the night
Definitely.
before. Take one in the morning. You should be good.
Don't take it when you start feeling queasy because then
Too late.
It's too late. You're done. You're going.
You're
It ain't going to
chumming.
happen.
So Scott, what do you got going on this summer?
This summer we'll be doing the same thing we've been doing, man. We're looking forward. We're starting to book some trips for the TV show, so we're getting in touch with guys like Chris. But we do everything down there, basically. We do party boat fishing, Captain Monty and Captain Chris and Captain Victor on all the party boats for sea bass and flounder and that sort of thing. The first thing we'll do is we'll go to Watch Creek. We love fishing in Watch Creek first part of the season because the flounder show up there earlier.
Okay.
And then in May we'll move back up to Ocean City. We start flounder fishing in the back bays of Ocean City, bluefish and stuff. And then when the offshore season starts, we try and concentrate on that. Go hit the tunas and sharks early on. And then tournament season starts late June, early July. We are super busy then. We do through the TV show, we do the live broadcast for the White Marlin Open, the Mid-Atlantic, the Big Fish Classic. So you can watch all those tournaments online, and that's our production that we're doing.
Yeah,
Very
nice.
cool.
Speaking of the White Marlin Classic, last year, wasn't there a record broken as far as entry? Like, it was something unbelievable.
The entry as far as number of boats wasn't broken. It was high, but it wasn't broken. All-time high I think is 4 something. Last year they were 380 something. But the purse was broken. The record purse was broken.
Payout.
Yeah, they had $5.5 million in the tournament last year.
That's the number I remember. That's right.
And the first place boat took home $2.6 million. He got a little bit over half of that.
Good on them.
Yeah.
You got to put up 30-some grand to be in that category, but if you can afford it, you can really cash a big check.
But I bet the odds are better than the Mega Strike or Mega Lottery or whatever you want to.
Listen, there's only 387 boats to get into it, and then the amount of boats to get into all the Calcuttas to be able to qualify for that $2.5 million is less than that. So you're a 1 in maybe 300 shot of doing that.
You should get a second mortgage, and we can get down.
Don't listen. We love people fishing tournaments. We don't recommend mortgaging your house to do it.
Stevie will end up getting my numbers guy on the
tracker down there.
Take the bass tracker out.
Right.
The 18-foot.
Yeah, Buck. What exactly would you like this line item for? I want to fish a tournament in Ocean City. It's 1 week long.
Oh, jeez, man.
It's a great event, though.
Oh, yeah. I'm so excited to be able to get that's something I want to see. I haven't seen any of this stuff before.
Oh, you guys got to come down and visit, man.
I am definitely, it's on my immediate bucket list.
If you can't get there, you can watch it online, like I mentioned, but we do a production right there at the scales at Harbor Island where we've got 2 6x10 video panels right there at the scale so people can see things through the lens right at ground zero. It's tough because the fish all come in dockside and the crowd is on the other side.
Right.
So there's people in the way. There's all sorts of stuff where you can't see the fish getting hauled up. So we alleviate that with the cameras and put it up on those big screen. It's really, really good.
That really, I bet, draws the crowd into the participation.
It really does.
Too.
It really does.
That place is packed, elbow to elbow. You can't walk through there in summertime.
Yeah, it's
when the
packed.
scales are busy, it is crazy in there.
That's what I'm looking forward to.
You'd have a good time.
Just to experience, just to go down there and see what that's all about and all alike.
Yeah, you'd have a good time.
Mm-hmm. So, Captain Chris, how can people get in touch with you guys if they want to book a trip?
You contact me direct at 443-783-1651 or like us on our Facebook page. And Paul, the owner of the boat, he does 90% of my contacts for me. So I concentrate on the boat and the fishing, and he can concentrate on my contact and charter information and keep everybody. That way I'm not coming back in and doing phone calls at 10 o'clock at night. He's right on keeping my contacts going and rocking and rolling for me.
You just show up to the boat and fish.
Yep, that's
nice.
it. Yep.
Cool. Scott, how can people get a hold of you, bud?
It's easy for us. We're fishingoc.com. We don't have a phone number or anything just because we're trying to put you in touch with the guys like Captain Chris here. So
right on.
We're not a broker. We don't do the booking or anything like that. We get that question a lot, but we are a marketing company that tries to get people to Fishing OC. That's where we came up with the name.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The website's fishingoc.com. We do a bunch of social media stuff. Facebook is Fishing OC. Instagram is iFishingOC. And if you like either one of those social media outlets, we share our fishing report to the Facebook page every night we do it, so it just pops right up in your news feed. There's no searching for it.
Yep.
You can just open up your Facebook app and bam, there it is in front of you.
I read that fishing report, and that is an awesome, awesome report.
Thanks very much.
You cover everything from fishing in the Chesapeake Bay to 50 miles offshore, at Ocean City. You got it. You got it. So
I appreciate that. Anytime
out.
somebody wants to send us something, the benefit of the fishing report is we can put as much information in there as we want.
Yeah.
There's no limit to the pictures. There's no limit to the content. So we've got some pretty extensive fishing reports once the season kicks in.
You sure do. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Absolutely, guys.
Anytime,
Appreciate
guys.
what you do, man. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks for having us.
Good day, guys.
All right, folks. We're back in the fishing hall with the Intimidator Fishing Charters.
Back in the fishing hall?
Back in the fishing. We never left.
I don't imagine you will all day.
No.
Sorry.
No.
I'm sorry. Who are we with now,
We're
Stevie?
with Captain Rich and Gail from the Intimidator Fishing Charters out of Rock Hall, Maryland.
Oh,
and,
close to home.
Guess what they fish for?
I can't imagine. You drug me over here, buddy. You've been talking nothing but stripers all week, so I can only imagine it's one of these big, bad stripers that they got hanging behind them.
How's the show going for you folks?
Good.
Is it?
Yep.
Is it? So tell us a little bit about your guide service, Captain.
Okay. We take people out fishing. That's my boat behind us here on the green picture here.
Yeah.
But it's a 45-foot charter boat.
Wow.
It's got plenty of room on it.
Sure does.
We take people out. We take them during the trophy season, and we troll then. That's normally the way to catch them. But our main bread and butter is people from up here in Pennsylvania like to bottom fish.
Mm-hmm.
They want to put that spinning rod in their hand. Most of them are not much on riding around watching the rod bend. They want to feel it and catch it themselves. So
I can't argue with that.
Yeah,
One bit.
Me either. And we mostly do cut bait, bunker fishing, bottom fishing for them, and catch them that way, and seem to do pretty well.
Yeah.
We have good success with them.
That's great.
And people have a great time with it. It's good with family. If you got your kids, grandkids, or whatever, it works out well. And
So from Harrisburg, how long of a drive is it to where you would
From right
launch?
here, it takes me 2 hours and 45 minutes.
So it's a day trip.
Yeah,
Easy
absolutely.
day trip.
Lancaster's 2 hours. Most of the time the guys come down, it's roughly 2 hours.
Wow. Now, where is Rock Hall in the bay?
We're right across the bay from Baltimore.
Okay.
Yeah, when we come out of the harbor in the morning, we look right straight across where Sparrows Point used to be, the steel mills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're on the Upper Eastern Shore
Upper Eastern Shore.
in Kent County.
Cool. So the trophy season starts at mid-April, right?
Third Saturday. It changes every year, the date, but it's the third Saturday in April, and it goes till May 15th.
Okay.
And May 16th, it goes to the regular season, which is 2 fish per person, and they don't have to be 19 inches long to keep, but you're only allowed one over 28 per person. That's the way it's always been on that end. The lower end has changed from 18 to 20, and last year went back to 19.
It's 19 this year.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
Now, the trophy season's got to be 35 inches.
Okay.
Yeah.
when you guys are trolling for these, can you tell me a little bit about your setup? Like, how many rods are you running when you're trolling?
We usually run between 17 and 20.
So you're running planer boards?
Yeah, planer boards out and spread them out on them.
That's always amazed me how.
That's how many you
one
take
or
when
two
you go
people-
when you go pier fishing. You take about that many rods. So.
Yeah, but I don't have them all in at the same time. It's always amazed me how one or two people on a boat can handle 17 to 20 rods. I just is nuts. It's something to see, I'll tell you.
I can imagine it's utter chaos. So if you get into some and they all start popping.
That, or you get one and it helicopters into all the others.
Oh.
That's fun too, but the other way.
Yeah, I'll bet that's fun.
Yeah. That can put you out of business for a little while. But
Wow. So what's the average? What's an average trip run?
it's $480 for a half a day.
Okay.
That's good for up to 6 people.
Okay.
I'm licensed for a lot more. I carry 15. I cut it off at that. That's pretty much full boat trying to fish.
I bet.
And but it's based on 6 people.
Okay.
Up 1 to 6 people is $480.
Okay.
And after that, 7th on, it's $80 more a person for each one. But I can
That's
pretty
great.
much
That's
fill
good.
take your party, whatever you got.
Yeah.
And that includes everything to fish.
Okay.
Then you don't have to bring your own rods. You don't have to bring bait. There's no fuel surcharge. That's the price.
Wow.
That's
and
the price.
You don't need a license to fish on
No.
the charter, right?
Not on charter boat. Charter boat pays a fee at the beginning of the year that covers everybody
Yeah.
that fishes on them. Yeah.
Wow, that's a good deal.
Yeah.
That's
the only
awesome.
thing you need your food and drink.
Just show up
Yeah.
with something to eat and you're good for the day.
Yes.
Yep.
Wow.
We leave
And a
at 6
positive
a.m.
attitude.
What's
or we
A
leave
positive
at
attitude.
Yeah.
1
Yeah.
p.m.
Yeah.
Okay.
Up to a 5-hour trip, depending upon the success of the day.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Let's do it.
I know you're ready.
Yeah.
He's pulling his phone out to check his calendar quick.
All right. Well, hey, we appreciate you taking time
Hey,
to talk to us.
glad
We
to do
thank
it.
you.
Is there
Yeah.
where can folks get a hold of you guys to try to get one of these things booked?
Okay.
Because we only have a couple hours, I think, left of the show. Tomorrow,
Yeah.
Yep.
And tomorrow's the last day. So
Yep.
if they don't make it down here, where can they get a hold of you?
They can email us, fishrockhall@gmail.com.
Okay.
They can call us, 410-639-7420. And we have a website.
Okay.
It's www.rockhalintimidatorfishing.com.
Very nice.
Perfect.
All right.
Thank you, Cap.
Appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate
No
it.
problem.
Thank you.
We are still in the fishing hall, folks.
never
Surprise.
Surprise.
We never left.
I haven't left.
Who's that? That's Ryan, guys.
That's Ryan.
How you
Hey,
doing?
Ryan.
What's going on?
We are smack dab with our good friend Ryan. We met Ryan last year. Ryan's with Dry Case, where their motto is, we want to get you wet,
We specialize in getting you wet,
and they sure do.
and we sure do.
They sponsored our wet wading season.
They certainly
They did,
And,
yeah.
and here comes the plug. I used it all summer.
Yeah.
We used them all summer.
Yep.
And I don't think we had one wet piece of clothing.
Anything.
And I even took this on a whitewater rafting trip.
Did you?
And it definitely got soaked.
Yeah.
Everything came out dry as a bone.
Yep, which is why we've had to think about maybe redoing that tagline, because we do get you wet, but we don't get your stuff wet.
Exactly.
Then people say, hold on, who's getting wet?
Exactly. I got wet, but everything in my Dry Case was dry.
Yeah.
And it was raining on us at times, as well as the river
Well,
was
you were
quite
whitewater
up,
rafting.
quite
Yeah.
up too,
Yep.
and it was wet.
Yep, and you can
For
see
life.
we have changed some of it because now we're doing conquer any condition. So it is any condition: rain, sleet, snow, water, sand. We make this stuff for the beach, so we always keep beach goers in mind.
Yeah.
So what size is this?
That's a 35-liter backpack. It's called the Masonboro backpack. It's named after one of the barrier islands right off of the coast of Wilmington, North Carolina, Wrightsville Beach, where we're at.
Okay.
35 liters on that bag.
And that's the size of bag that I picked up last year.
Yes.
And I'm telling you guys, Stevie, this probably wouldn't work for you, but for me,
Right.
every piece of fishing gear that I own fits in that.
Really?
Yeah, all my tackle boxes and everything, I can just drop them right in. So when we did the trip up to
Shad fishing?
No, when we went
Soda's
to
Point.
Soda's Point.
Okay.
This was on Uncle Catfish's boat with all my tackle boxes in. So when we actually started catching pike and everybody's diving in, going for their stuff, I was in my dry case digging through trying to find enough the right kind of lures for those pike.
I mean, you could slide a few planos in there easily, and it'll fit everything. We have people that convert them into their tackle bags, just like you said, and they'll use them as strictly as tackle bags.
Yeah, it was 3 Plano boxes on the bottom, 2 more stacked on top, and then filled the rest with my soft plastics. And
there you go.
I've got it.
I love that bag, Ryan. I have one in myself, but my eye keeps getting drawn to something new, I think.
That's right, yeah.
And Stevie, I think, is starting to take notice of that as well.
I'm looking at it.
Stevie, what are you looking at, bud?
Well, it looks like a blind bag.
It
almost,
sure does.
right?
There you go, sure.
A pretty big blind bag.
That's one of the many uses of it. This was pretty much inspired by this show for us for the last couple of years. We've made, what we're looking at is a duffel bag. So it is a 40-liter, 100% waterproof duffel bag that can be converted to a backpack strap, bag as well. Can be a boat bag, can be a blind bag, and that's what people are buying it for here at the show.
Yeah, it's funny because I have the blue one, and I use it for everything. And we went duck hunting this year, and catfish yelled at me because I brought a blue bag onto the boat, so I had to cover it up with a camouflage coat because the ducks are seeing something blue on a duck boat. They can spot that pretty quick. So I would not have had that problem with this.
Yep, so that's brand new for this show. So we've made this duffel bag, and we have another one we're looking at over here that's in blue. It's an 80-liter duffel bag. We've made that for years, and it's a boat bag. 80? It's a ditch bag. It's giant. And from this show, we're constantly hearing, well, I like this backpack, but I want a little bit more room, and I want something that's more like a duffel. And so that's drawn us to come up with this one, which is the 40-liter duffel bag.
I could smuggle all my kids onto anywhere with that thing.
Put them in it.
With the 80.
Yeah.
I'd probably be lying if I said we haven't fit a couple people in there before. They were alive.
Yeah,
they were alive. They were willingly. They willingly got into the bag. It was a demonstration.
And they were willing participants.
So
no coworkers were harmed.
None.
I only see one problem with that bag.
I think I know what it might be.
And there's only one row of shell holders.
Yeah. Well, let me turn it around.
Turn it around. Oh, there we go. Now we got another row. So we got another row.
Do you have optional additional 4th and 5th row?
No, 4th and 5th row. You're looking at it. 2 row.
That's
2 row on that one.
So
you're also not seeing the shoulder strap. So there is a front pocket, a smaller pocket, and that opens up. And inside there right now, I'm storing the 2 shoulder straps.
Okay.
Nice.
That are on clips and can be moved around. So people listening to this podcast can't see me, but I'm not a very tall person. It's going to fit me differently than it's going to fit Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to fit me differently than other people. And so with the shoulder straps on clips, you're able to move that to all those different D-rings around the bag.
Cool.
So I think, Stevie, maybe next year we could see about working out an idea here for another version of the blind bag, and it'll be the R2 blind bag.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. And the whole outside will be covered with shell holders.
Yep. We listen to the feedback, so that's what you guys want.
Ryan, is there anything in 2019 that you don't have out here right now that you might give us a little peek behind the the curtain?
Yeah, we've got some things in mind. I can't let too much out of the bag, but
Just
I
give us
see
a
what
little
you did
peek.
there.
we're looking to get a little bit more into the gun industry and the firearm industry. So we got some cases for that we're thinking about.
Cool.
It's perfect.
Stay tuned, folks.
Yep.
They won't disappoint. These people at Dry Case, they
you have
never
more than-
cease to amaze me.
You have more than bags for stuff down here. You have cell phone covers. You've got these waterproof Bluetooth speakers.
Yep.
And for anybody who didn't hear the show last year about this, what really intrigued us was that cell phone
That's
case,
right.
We were doing a lot of wet wading prior to the show, and
A lot of
and all of a sudden
kayaking.
we're walking down the aisle. There's a giant aquarium. It's got live fish in it. It also has a working cell phone submerged in the water inside
does.
one of these dry cases.
And
that jumped out at us last year. We're like, whoa.
Correct me if I'm wrong. We did not lose a single cell phone.
You know what?
In the last year.
2018 was a
Every
single
cell
cell
phone's
phone
lost.
per person.
Look at that.
We
And
didn't
our
lose
two
any.
pursuits has Dry Case to
Yeah.
thank solely. You guys took that responsibility on your shoulders solely.
That's right.
And you all delivered.
It's a tough spot. I mean, people take their phones very seriously. They're not cheap anymore, so it is a big responsibility. But, we vacuum seal them. Every time you use the case, you can vacuum seal it. So I always tell people, let it sit there for a few minutes. If it's holding a vacuum seal, it's just impossible for water to get in.
Yeah.
If it wasn't holding a seal, if it wasn't airtight after a few minutes, you would know that something was wrong with it. So there's no reason for your phone to ever get wet in that vacuum seal.
I don't know which one I used more, the phone case or my Dry Case, the actual.
I used them in tandem most of the time.
Same here.
And the other thing is, I've used a couple other versions of waterproof phone cases while we were doing a lot of our fishing. And it seemed like every time I'm taking my phone out of that case so I could get a good picture, where these things are actually, when you are vacuum sealing them like that,
right?
I can't tell that it's in a case.
No,
when I'm
you
taking
can't.
those photos.
The pictures are going to come out just as clear as you keep that phone case. As long as you keep it nice and clean and clear. There's no air in there. There's no space. With other cases, if there's air in between your case and your camera, there's going to be some distortion, some glare.
Yeah. So
I know this is going out. Today will be Sunday when people are listening to this. So if they can't get down to here to the show, how all year long, how can people get a hold of you?
We're on drycase.com. We're on all your social media at Drycase, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Go to your local tackle shop, go to your local outfitters, ask for Dry Case. If we're not in there, they'll be able to find us. But, we're in stores in all 50 states, 12 countries now, and, we've got a good amount of exposure, and always drycase.com as well.
Sure. Perfect. Thanks, Ryan.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan. I appreciate
Thank you
your
guys.
time,
Hey,
bud.
thank you guys for everything, because we love you guys as well. We follow you, and these guys have been working hard. So
Thank you.
well-deserved break for these guys coming up.
We are ready to go back to work for you and get back into that
There you
river
go.
with these Dry Cases. It's right around the corner.
Awesome,
bud.
man. We appreciate it.
All right, guys.
Thanks, buddy.
All
See you,
right.
bud.
Cheers.
And I finally got Stevie out of the fishing hall, guys.
How about it?
Yeah. Woo.
Only because it was lunchtime.
Yes, and because of lunch, Stevie, thank you for being hungry. We are getting the chance to sit down with Miss Alana Barricks.
Hello.
Of the SemiArmed Life podcast.
I'm so happy to be here.
Great to
How
have
crazy
you.
was that running into her here?
I bet you that this is the whole reason why you probably aren't at the fishing hall right now. It's because you get to talk with.
Well, yeah, with a fellow podcaster.
I mean,
a
my
fellow
whole reason for
Second
being
Amendment
at
lover.
the Great American Outdoor Show is just so that I could see Rutten River Pursuits podcast guys. So.
I can't.
Oh,
take
you
it.
stop it! Wow, stop it! Don't inflate our
There's
egos.
a tear.
Was it Thursday when
Kyle, get this tear out of my eye.
Hold on.
you were
Here.
walking in and we
Thank
ran
you.
into each other?
It was just yesterday.
Was that
Friday.
just yesterday?
Yeah, I
Oh,
know.
my gosh.
It's a long show.
Holy cow.
The days blend together.
I was walking in, Alana was walking. Uncle Bob. It was a hallmark moment.
You know, Bucky, I think you might be onto something. I think she lurks in the shadows and waits for us to get into the building, because
That's
I had
it.
a similar
Yep.
experience yesterday when I got here.
You did actually.
I'm rounding a corner. I was like, Oh my! Hello.
I'm going to start looking for the security cams behind these curtains
In
here
my
soon.
head, I see it being like a slow motion.
It is.
Kind of, bounding, juking
magical.
and weaving around slow people.
There are doves flying in the background.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
yeah, and then a big warm embrace.
Yeah. That's actually exactly how it goes down every time.
Love it.
Every time.
No, it's really good to see you again, and we officially have history now.
We
it's
do. Yeah.
Yes.
We've been friends for a year.
So long.
Yeah.
It's been
Second
beautiful.
annual meeting.
So since last year, you and a very close friend of yours,
Mr. SemiArmed.
Mr. SemiArmed?
have started a podcast, right?
Yes.
Yeah. How's
Yes,
that going?
sir. It's going very well. We have 11 episodes so far, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I mean, really, one of the reasons that we started it was actually just to help our friends and family get a little bit more information about the Second Amendment and firearms in general, kind of as a guide. And like, we wanted to put all the information that we knew into like one spot for them.
Yeah.
And our goal was really to arm more people, as crazy as that sounds.
My lady.
And my brother and sister-in-law actually just became first-time gun owners. So we feel like the
Really?
podcast
That's
is
awesome.
a success. Yeah.
Wow. What'd they buy?
They actually bought my first ever AR-15 that I built.
What?
Yeah, so I sold
No
that
kidding.
to them.
That's
yeah.
Wow. That's
Great.
quite a first firearm.
I
man.
know. I'm so proud
Jeez.
of them. I mean, they live in Texas, so, you got to do everything
Oh, yeah,
big.
good-
And so
good
AR-15,
And then-
first step.
There we go.
And then backing up to the podcast, starting that podcast, and I think really was at the outdoor show whenever you saw these weird group of guys coming in and out of the press hall.
Weird is
You're
an
like,
understatement.
Yeah.
you're like, we can do that.
I was like, yeah, I mean, if Uncle Buck can be a famous podcaster,
Yeah.
surely I can do it.
Exactly. Alana, even a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in
There
a
we go.
while.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You
Yeah.
get that.
No offense to blind squirrels out there.
Yeah, I don't want to offend any squirrels out there, especially of all the blind ones.
We
We're
have a
very
big
politically
blind
correct
animal.
when it comes to squirrels.
Listener
They have a
contingent.
hard enough life to begin with.
But they do find nuts, thank God.
Yeah. right.
Anyway, just joking. But seriously, out,
Like,
we're-
how did it get started?
Yeah, no, we're just. I just want to say, again, we're proud of you.
Thanks.
Welcome to
Aw.
the community, the podcast.
appreciate
It's a
it.
big commitment, isn't it? Yeah.
It is, yeah. And the interesting thing has just been, I guess, to see like what people expect of us with having a podcast.
It was like the end of summer, roughly beginning of fall. you
Yeah, it
started?
was actually shortly after the March for Our Lives march that those kids did from Parkland and everything. There's just a lot of people had a lot of questions, and there was a lot of misinformation about firearms out there.
Yeah.
And I just was really passionate about it. So I was like, all right, that's it.
Yeah.
We're getting into content creation. Got to do it.
So you guys do all your own recording, all your own editing, everything.
Yes, sir.
You're,
Yep.
one-stop shop.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I like it.
That's awesome.
You don't have a guest on your podcast.
Right. No, we just talk. We don't do guests yet.
And have you found difficulty talking and just keeping that going? I'm interested because we have a guest and then we have a show without a guest, but it's more than just two people though too.
Yeah.
And that's what it just completely blows.
The classic tete-a-tete.
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, it kind of depends. So. Luckily, it's helpful that I'm super in love with my co-host. He is my fiance.
Me
so
too.
I figured you were.
I love my co-host, but not quite like you love your
Right?
co-host.
Let's hope not. But yeah,
This
so
is the first I'm hearing of this, Buck.
But yeah, I mean, we really have a good time together.
Yeah, you do.
And we
sure
have
do.
very different interests in firearms because I'm very into policy and politics, and he's much more of like a gear and technical kind of guy.
Yeah.
He has a really strong background in firearms history. So we just kind of like play to each other's strengths, and
That's cool.
each episode we choose, maybe like 5 or 6 topics to go over, and normally it's like a solid mix of like a few that I want to talk about and a few that he wants to talk about, and we just
You complement
work
each
out.
other.
Yeah, it works out.
How much planning does that take for you?
Kind of depends with each episode. So we actually recently started an AK-47 specific segment.
That's cool.
Yeah, because that's what we're really into.
Yeah.
And particularly my co-host, he's like an AK guy, like the AK guy,
Wow.
So he didn't really have to do any preparation for that entire episode. And it was like an hour long, and he just was able to talk about the couple of topics that we chose. Whereas I, on the other hand, I love AKs, and I have a great time shooting them. They're like my favorite firearm, but I don't know the technical, specs that go into it and everything. So it took me probably like 5 or 6 hours of research before I felt comfortable talking about it. And I went into it with, maybe 2 or 3 pages of notes. He went into it with like just the topics written down.
Did you grow up as around guns as a Second Amendment supporter, or is this kind of like new to you as an adult?
Yeah, so I did not grow up with it at all. My mom's actually Canadian, so bless her heart. She's
God love her.
Super.
Yeah.
I know it.
You know what they say. No bueno.
Yeah, so my parents
There was a
didn't.
traditional Canadian saying.
It would be that.
It would be that.
So my mom has, she's always been very anti-gun.
Yeah.
My dad just didn't really know anything about guns or anything. So in college, right after Sandy Hook happened, I was a political science major, and the SAFE Act passed, and it was like the worst piece of gun control legislation pretty much in the history of the world. And it was all over the news, and I didn't understand anything about it. Like, all these people were freaking out about guns, and I was like, is that even an issue? Like, do people actually own guns? Like, I didn't know anybody that owned guns. So I started doing a lot of research and realized that people who didn't know anything about firearms were writing firearms policy, and it didn't make any sense whatsoever. So I just fell down that rabbit hole.
That's cool.
And then within a year, I got my range safety officer certification because I wanted to.
Wait, back up.
Yeah.
So you have zero, essentially, gun exposure.
Yeah.
One day you say, I'm going to start, learning about guns, and a year later, you're a range guide.
Yeah. So I went from like not even knowing the difference between a shotgun and a rifle to teaching people firearm safety.
That's
impressive. So I really hit the gas pedal with that one.
Nice.
Pulled the trigger, so to say. I mean, it was just something that, I don't know, it like, once I realized that there was so much misinformation out there, and so many people being taught really unsafe practices about firearms, and people treating it like you should, if you see a gun, like, you need to just run away and never learn about it and just forget about it. Like, people were really trying to kind of like get rid of firearms knowledge. Like, they don't want you to actually know the 4 rules of firearm safety. They don't want you to know how to handle a firearm properly. So it just felt like I really needed to learn that and teach more people how to do it.
That's cool.
So, and that was something that I learned like right off the bat, because when I started, learning more about firearms, I actually hosted a basic firearm safety course on my college campus, and people were protesting it and saying, I actually had the campus police called on me, and somebody reported that I was like an active shooter. And luckily, I had a good relationship with the campus police, so they didn't, come in guns a-blazing or anything. But I mean, people were so furious, and all I was doing was hosting a firearms safety course where it literally just taught people, like, the 4 rules of firearm safety and really basic things like that. And actually I later hosted an active shooter course as well, so that you knew what to do in a situation. And students were protesting me for that as well. And I was like, literally, I'm trying to help people.
Quit helping us do something in case something bad happens.
Yeah, it was just crazy to really see. I mean, and that just kind of like, fed my passion for it, because I realized that people really wanted to like suppress that knowledge.
What state was that?
Just New York.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go figure.
Yep.
Yeah.
The People's Republic of New York.
Well, and on behalf of everybody who does not live in the city, New York is overall a pretty big hunting community once you get out of the city. I want to say that for, there's
the state's great. Their regulations.
And I want to say that I do, because I've met a lot of very good people from New York who are avid Second Amendment, and they're not uneducated about it either.
Oh yeah. There's a great community up there. So I was at school in Buffalo, New York, and right away I started joining like Second Amendment rights groups up there, and I did. The funny thing was that going to gun shows in New York was just the most incredible experience as like a beginner in the firearms community, because everybody there, it's like they had to come out of hiding to go there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I couldn't really be like just actively pro-gun in my day-to-day life, because people, like, I got spit on campus.
I was going to cause drama for you, yes.
Yeah.
I don't.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. Like
It doesn't, but it does to me.
Growing up, going to school in Pennsylvania, like that would have never crossed my mind.
Yeah.
I don't know what the rules are for firearms on campuses, so I won't be the first to. But it would have never. Rural Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Well, and I grew up in Erie, Pennsylvania.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh,
and but like I said,
cold
neither
there.
of my parents. It is. Yeah. It's cold in Buffalo too. But since neither of my parents were into guns or anything, I didn't realize until after I left Pennsylvania and got into guns that a bunch of my neighbors had guns, and they had like gun cases like sitting out that I just never noticed because it wasn't something that people cared about, But in New York, if you have a gun sitting out in your house, people are going to call the cops on you.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Wow.
No.
And then I moved to Virginia, and I'm so much happier there.
I bet.
And I have all the guns I want.
Now, Alana, with all this misinformation out there, how has your podcast been received by the overall general public?
I think so far it's been really incredible to get feedback from people who really don't know that much about firearms. I know particularly my soon-to-be mother-in-law actually loves our podcast because she lives in California, which, again, very anti-gun state.
A lot of regulation.
Yeah, and now she does live in a more conservative part of the state, so a lot of people that she is friends with, they're all pro-gun and everything. But I know it's been really helpful for her learning.
We know the other 5 people in California who are pro-gun also. So we can help your mom out. Just to let you know.
They've been on our podcast.
That's awesome. But yeah, so I mean, I've had a lot of people say that, it's helped them learn a lot. And it's also nice, too, that since we do kind of go back and forth between, like, politics and history and things like that, a lot of people who are even very, very experienced with firearms are learning a lot. So, for example, in one of our episodes, we did a really, really deep dive into the very interesting history of the ATF. And and I mean, they're the regulating body on firearms, in the federal government, and they're the people that are going to kick down your door or something. But they actually started as part of the IRS. So, and taxation, I'm not a big fan of that either. But
I heard that.
So, I mean, it's just been really interesting, being able to provide history lessons to people as well, even if they're very experienced.
I have to say that that's something that we shy away from. Uber facts and things like that you have to be accurate on. We draw from a lot of life experience and things like that on our podcast. So the politics and things like that, you guys are you guys go into that head first.
Yeah.
And I really do appreciate that.
Oh, thank you.
I don't know how to do that. You know, it's
intelligently.
We wouldn't
and be
choose to do
above
that,
board with our facts. Yeah, because
well,
there's
and
a lot.
we have had to start a few episodes every now and then by saying like, "Hey guys, you know, we misstated this in our last episode, so we want to correct it."
Well, good on you guys for doing that. First
Oh,
of all,
thank
that's
you.
that's
We
a
would
refreshing
need, like,
thing
a
in journalism.
15-minute segment at the start of every program to like clear up. The last
Or pay some lawyer to give us an ironclad disclosure
Oh
at the
my
very
goodness,
beginning.
it would be 15 minutes long.
Yeah. So, I mean, maybe we could hire someone to fact check us.
We'll
or
get our
call us
best
out.
guy on it.
Yeah.
Compliance guy. You know? But no, I mean, I just appreciate that and doing the research that it takes to do that. I mean, I want to recognize that.
I got to
you.
ask you,
Yeah.
what is the likelihood, in your opinion, of there ever being a national concealed carry reciprocity program?
Oh gosh.
When is the Second Amendment going to mean the Second
right?
Amendment?
Yeah. I mean, it's really hard to say because the
Are we as
frustrating
close
thing,
now as we could ever be to? Because I keep hearing that it's that some it's in Congress somewhere and somebody's just waiting to push a button on it.
Right now, the really frustrating thing is, I mean, really, with the first 2 years of Trump's presidency were our best hope.
Yeah.
And now that the Democrats have taken control of the House and they're already working on passing anti-gun bills, there's absolutely no shot of getting anything through the House at this point.
Yeah.
And what's really frustrating, though, is just recently a new version of the National Concealed Carry Reciprocity Bill got introduced, and it is extremely watered down, and essentially you still wouldn't really be able to carry in all 50 states because part of it basically still enforces whatever state laws are on the books, and my firearms aren't going to be compliant in New York State or California or Massachusetts because they have so many additional regulations that I wouldn't be able to comply with those state laws. So
I live
still
just a
wouldn't be
few
able to
miles
carry.
from the Maryland border.
Yeah.
And, and I'm fine in Pennsylvania, but
I mean, you could airmail your firearm and if you don't send it left and you send it right, and then the ammo wasn't stacked, shiny thing, pointy thing first. But you know what? They've written it so convoluted where nobody is going to be able to legally navigate that hoop.
Well, and I mean, I almost didn't want to come up here to the Great American Outdoor Show because your lovely governor, Mr. Tom Wolf, got rid of reciprocity with Virginia.
Yeah.
So my concealed carry permit is no longer valid in Pennsylvania. So.
Well, we're sorry on behalf of
Mr.
It's
Wolf.
okay. I'll get over it.
I know.
Someday.
I know. I tried to make a difference for you in that, but
I appreciate that.
Well,
I wrote a letter.
Good for you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. You start somewhere. If people want to listen to your podcast or follow you on social media, what's the best way to do that?
Yeah, sure. So the podcast is the SemiArmed Life, and we are available on iTunes and SoundCloud. And we're also on Instagram, just at SemiArmed Life. And then my Instagram page, where you can just look at a lot of AK-47s and Glocks, is at Mrs.semiarmed.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you for taking some time with us.
Of course.
And
Thank you guys so much for having me.
Yeah, thanks for what you're doing, getting information out there that
absolutely.
that we all believe in. So
thanks for keeping me entertained with all the coolest hunting and fishing stories.
Our pleasure.
We do our best.
All right.
Thank you.
Have a good show.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Alana.
Thanks, everybody.
Where are you?